In a corner of the web, where stories weave and bind, there's a place called Jubo Smiles, a treasure
In a village nestled between rolling hills and dense forest,
where myths and tales
there lived a
reside,
young woman named Nia.
entertain and educate.
She was known for her beauty, kindness, and wisdom. Her laughter was like the tinkling of bells,
Video,
and her smile could light up the darkest of days.
legends of the ancients,
Many suitors from neighboring villages sought her hand in marriage,
fields of golden
but none could win her heart.
learning meets the fun.
Nia's father,
Hand
Chief
in
Ade,
hand beneath
was a respected leader,
sun.
and he wanted the best for his daughter. He knew that Nia was special and that her destiny would be unlike any other. One day, a mysterious traveler arrived in the village. He was tall and strong, with eyes that gleamed like molten gold. He wore a cloak made of rich, dark fur, and his voice was deep and commanding. The villagers whispered among themselves, for they had never seen a man quite like him before. The traveler introduced himself as Kofi, a noble man from a faraway land. He claimed to have heard of Nia's beauty and virtues, and had traveled many miles to ask for her hand in marriage. Chief Ade, intrigued by this stranger, invited him to stay in the village for a while so they could get to know him better. As the days passed, Nia found herself drawn to Kofi. He was not only handsome, but also intelligent, respectful, and kind. He spoke of lands beyond the horizon, of adventures and mysteries, and Nia's heart began to flutter whenever he was near. Kofi too seemed to be enchanted by Nia, and soon it was clear that they shared a deep connection. However, as their bond grew stronger, strange things began to happen. Animals in the forest started acting unusually, as if they were watching over the village. The wind carried whispers that seemed to speak Kofi's name, and the moon shone brighter whenever he and Nia were together. The villagers grew uneasy, sensing that something was not quite right. One night, while the village slept, Nia was awakened by a soft growl outside her window. She peered out into the darkness and saw a pair of glowing eyes staring back at her. Her heart raced, but she felt no fear. Instead, she felt a strange sense of calm. The next day, Nia confronted Kofi. "Who are you truly?" she asked, her voice steady. "There's something about you that is not of this world." Kofi sighed and took Nia's hand, leading her to the edge of the forest. "You are right, Nia," he said, his voice filled with sorrow. "I'm not like other men. I am Kofi, the Lion King of the forest. By day, I walk among men in human form, but by night, I return to my true self, a lion, guardian of the wild." Nia's eyes widened in shock, but Kofi continued. "I have watched over this village for many years, protecting it from harm. When I heard of your beauty and wisdom, I could not resist coming to meet you. But now, I fear that my secret will drive you away." Nia gazed into Kofi's eyes, seeing the truth in them. She realized the love she felt for him was real, whether he was a man or a lion. "I do not fear you, Kofi," she said softly. "Your heart is true, and that's what matters to me." Kofi smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. "If you choose to marry me, Nia, you must know that you will not live a life like other women. You will be bound to the forest, sharing in my duty to protect it. There will be challenges, dangers, and mysteries that you cannot imagine." Nia thought long and hard about Kofi's words. She knew that her life would change forever, but she also knew that she could not walk away from the love she had found. "I choose you, Kofi," she declared. "I will marry you, whether you are a man or a lion. Together, we will face whatever comes our way." Kofi's heart swelled with joy and he embraced Nia. But as they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, the trees around them began to sway, and the earth beneath their feet trembled. The forest seemed to come alive, as if welcoming his new queen. But the challenges of marrying the Lion King were only beginning. As word of their union spread, forces from beyond the village, dark and ancient, began to stir. The elders spoke of old prophecies and forgotten dangers, warning that Nia's decision might have awakened powers that had long been dormant. Nia and Kofi knew that they had to prepare for the trials ahead, for the forest was not just a place of beauty, it was a realm of secrets and shadows. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the wilderness, they discovered that the greatest test of their love was yet to come. The days that followed Nia's decision to marry Kofi were filled with both joy and unease. The village buzzed with excitement, for a union between a human and the Lion King of the forest was something they had never seen before. Yet, the elders' warnings lingered in the air like a dark cloud, and Nia knew that their journey was only beginning. On the day of their wedding, the entire village gathered under the ancient baobab tree. The sun shone brightly and the air was filled with the scent of wildflowers. Kofi in his human form stood tall and proud, while Nia radiated beauty and grace in her wedding attire. As they exchanged vows, the forest seemed to hold its breath, as if acknowledging the sacred bond being formed. But as the final words of the ceremony were spoken, the earth beneath them rumbled, the skies darkened, and a cold wind swept through the village. The elders exchanged worried glances, for they knew that something ancient and powerful had been awakened. From the depths of the forest, a shadowy figure emerged, a creature unlike they had ever seen. It was the spirit of the wild, a force as old as the earth itself. Its form was ever-changing, shifting between animals and elements, and its voice was like the roar of 1,000 storms. You dare to bind yourself to the forest? The spirit boomed, his voice echoing through the trees. The union of man and beast disturbs the balance. The forest is mine to protect, and I will not allow this bond to weaken it. Kofi stepped forward, his eyes blazing with determination. We do not seek to weaken the forest, he declared. We seek to protect it, as I have done for many years. Nia's heart is pure, and together we will ensure that the balance is maintained. The spirit of the wild studied them, his ever-shifting form swirling with energy. If you are to remain bound to the forest, it is said you must prove your worth. You must face the trials of the wild and show that your love is strong enough to withstand the forces of nature. Nia and Kofi exchanged a glance, knowing that their love would be tested like never before. But they did not hesitate. Together they agreed to face the trials, for they knew that their bond was unbreakable. The first trial was the trial of courage. They were led deep into the heart of the forest, where they faced wild beasts and treacherous terrain. But Nia and Kofi fought side by side, their love giving them the strength to overcome every obstacle. The second trial was the trial of wisdom. They were challenged with riddles and puzzles, each more complex than the last. But Nia's sharp mind and Kofi's deep understanding of the forest guided them through, and they emerged victorious. The final trial was the trial of hearts. They were separated, each facing their darkest fears alone. Nia found herself in a world where Kofi had been taken from her, where the forest was dying and all the hope seemed lost. But she did not falter. She called out to Kofi with all the love in her heart, knowing that their connection could never be severed. In that moment, Kofi appeared before her, and the darkness around them dissolved. The spirit of the wild stood before them, his form now calm and harmonious. You have proven your worth, the spirit said, his voice softer now. Your love is true, and it will bring strength to the forest. You may remain as guardians, but know this, your bond will forever tie you to the wild. You will face challenges, but you will also share in its beauty and power. With those words, the spirit of the wild faded into the forest, leaving Nia and Kofi standing hand in hand. The skies cleared, and the sun broke through the clouds, bathing them in warmth and light. The forests, once tense and forbidding, now seemed to welcome them, its trees swaying gently as if in approval. Nia and Kofi returned to the village as husband and wife, not just as a couple, but as the new guardians of the forest. They lived in harmony with the wild, guiding the villagers to respect and protect the land. Their love became a legendary tale passed down through generations, a story of how a woman married a lion, and together they bridged the worlds of man and beast. Though their journey had its trials, Nia and Kofi's love only grew stronger with each passing day. They learned that true love could conquer not only the heart, but also the very forces of nature. And so their story lived on, a beautiful reminder that love, when pure and unwavering, could create a bond that even the wildest of spirits could not break.
Sun, Jubo smiles, where stories take flight in fields of dreams. From morning to night, tales that teach and stories that play in the